In this video, we're going to have a very quick look at the brand new Parrot Anafi FPV kit. This is based around the Anafi, which came out last year, has 21 megapixels and about a 25-minute flight time, but with an entirely new Cockpit Goggles 3. So here's the box. I'm going to dive straight in. For a start, there's this beautiful new bag. All of the Anafi kits, from the standard one, which has a case for the drone itself, to the extended edition, which has a case that has room for the drone and for the 3 batteries and for the controller, seem to use this lovely textured mottled sort of grey fabric. And the FPV kit comes with this miniature backpack, which can actually be sort of turned around and worn around the front. Now, I'm not sure it's ideal for a portly gentleman such as myself, but I certainly saw it demonstrated. When it's resting against the body here, it becomes a sort of shelf. So say you're somewhere muddy and you don't want to put the drone on the ground at all, you can get everything up and ready and get going without ever having to set a foot on the ground. And part of that comes from the hand launch feature, which was added after the original launch in an update to Free Flight. Free Flight 6 is the app. So this is the Anafi. Here's the controller. We've also got a little kit bag here with just a case for the micro SD card and an adapter. And here there's a USB-C lead. And there, the spare propellers. And there are a quick start guide and a more serious safety manual. But let's get on to the meat of the matter. The Cockpit Goggles. As you can see, the Cockpit Goggles are not, they're like Google Cardboard. They have a clip for the phone, and your phone becomes the screen rather than having a built-in screen like DJI's. There's a hinged clip, simple foam padding, which presumably allows a certain amount of flexibility in handsets. Here's an iPhone XS Max in a case. It's got a screen protector on it as well, so it's a bit thicker than the standard one. And that clips in no problem at all. Before we get flying, you have to pull out this thing. This is all made of quite a firm rubber, so it's soft around the eye. And then there are these pupil adjusters, which adjust the distance apart which the eye lenses go. There's no focusing option. And the rather nifty feature here is you've got a button on the top, another on the bottom. And these, they're not electronic. There's no electronics in here, so there's no need for any annoying setup or wearing a heavy battery on your head. They just operate a lever which taps the screen in a certain place. The Free Flight app knows which button is being pressed from that. The top button will bring up the menu. There's a special version of the menu for FPV flying. Once you've got the menu on the screen, the drone just politely hovers while you get along with navigating the menu using the controls on the remote. Seems a bit weird at first, but then almost any drone seems to involve a lot of hovering and waiting while you navigate menus. And at least this way, while you're adjusting the various photographic settings, you'll find that you get to see pretty accurate view because you're in a shielded goggle rather than trying to guess from the screen in the daylight whether you've got the settings and the exposure right or not. The updated software also includes a zebra effect for overexposed white areas, so you can see it even if you're not operating with the glasses, and that works for anyone with any Anafi. The updates are available for all. So for a quick sake of comparison, I've just behind me I have DJI's goggles. These are the racing edition, which are still in the region of £500, $500. Now these are one with a head adjustment. The screen's built in, which means they need charging. There's more controls. There's a wheel, a menu adjustments. There's an HDMI in, so obviously there's a lot of functionality available. But that is basically a kilo, 995 grams. I pop my scales out. iPhone with the case and everything, 240 grams. At the goggles, 452 grams. So under half the weight, including the phone. But of course most of that weight is leaning towards the front. So let's just run through the menu quickly and see if we can't get flying, so to speak. The Anafi folds out, has a admittedly probably quite easy to lose lens cap. One of the things I've always liked about it, obviously still true since it's not changed, is the USB-C socket in the back of the battery, which means they can be charged from whatever chargers you have lying around, including one of those big battery packs which you might be able to put in your bag, have one charging while you had another battery. There is only one battery in the Anafi FPV box though. You also get a 16 gigabyte micro SD card. Plonk battery in there. Free Flight 6 now has an FPV option at the side. As soon as we press FPV, the screen goes like that. So we get our goggles, line the middle up, put the lens up. There we go. Now that's the clipping in process, as you can see, nice and straightforward. Just as we would before, the phone is connected there and there. And now, you might think I can see nothing or blank thing, but actually I can already see pretty much what I could see before, but as seen through the phone's camera. And you've got the option at any time to flick quickly to your phone's camera view, so you don't actually need to take off your goggles once you've got them in the right position. You can pop in and out. And that's a really handy little feature, sort of straight through view. I found it quite useful to reorientate myself when I was flying out in the field. As well as FPV, smart dronies with spirals and other cool tricks have been added over the course of the year. Epics, reveals, some of them have come under the Cine Shots menu. It's no longer exclusively the preserve of DJI. What arcade mode does is it's not something I can switch on while I'm on the ground, which is interesting. That makes a certain amount of sense because it requires you to be a little way above the ground to operate it. When you're in arcade mode, the left stick pushes the camera, or chooses the direction of the camera, and the right stick simply accelerates you forward or moves you backwards from the camera direction. So if you're looking down, you're getting nearer the ground. If you're looking up, you're getting further away from the ground. And then left and right obviously steer you. It feels a lot like a first-person view video game, which is why it's called arcade mode. And the other thing it feels a lot like is a fixed-wing aircraft, which is why you've got two new presets, cinematic and racing, which include dynamic horizon. This is a new feature. And once you switch, so look, we go to cinematic, you see dynamic horizon switches on automatically. Similarly in racing mode. These are essentially the same as film and sport, but where you've got a dynamic horizon, the camera will tilt with the flight, which gives you some very dramatic effects. Parrot's demo videos are absolutely spectacular. I managed to fly through little gaps near some trees. I did also find a way of doing a hand landing, although that's not in a manual, so I don't know if it's totally legit. Once you finish with the goggles, Closing them up is a simple matter of pulling. Well, actually, it's probably better. That's it. There are two distinct steps to this. One, pushing that in, and secondly, pulling the outside around. And that is impressively smaller and compact as a travelling device, again, just for comparison's sake. So that was a really quick look at the Parrot FPV, and the new Cockpit Goggles 3 as they're called. Oh. The already established 21 megapixel folding multicopter, intelligent battery, all the toys, which has improved dramatically over the last year, including of course the FPV mode, as well as the new dynamic horizon and arcade mode flights. The controller again hasn't changed, but definitely shouldn't discount the lovely new bag. All of that can be had for £729, £100 more than the standard kit with just the aircraft and a case for the aircraft, a single battery, but still less than the 3 battery version, the extended kit, let alone the more expensive professional versions with thermal imaging. To be honest, I think it's really nice value, but I need to do a more thorough review, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to encourage you gently to hit subscribe and ideally the little alert button, in order to see what happens when I get to take it to more than one location. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you with a couple of exciting moments from Parrot's press video. Enjoy. The full review will show a lot more of how to get the kind of footage we're seeing here in Parrot's spectacular video, and how to operate the menus and the different options for photographers. So do please subscribe and go on, hit the notify button. The full review will also feature a full look at the features of the Parrot Anafi as added during the year, as well as the original ones. Even if you don't choose to subscribe, thank you very much for sticking with me for this long, and why not visit techyearning.com. Link in the video notes, and there you'll find a full written review with detailed photographs.